Alrighty, 3:30 Eastern, Trade Ideas Live Q&A, closing down the markets, answering some questions. Looks like we got video, we got audio. Now all we need is people. So I'll start off as I always do by saying this is an open forum, an open Q&A, so I don't come with any pre-done content. I leave it open forum for you all to drive the content, asking your questions, your comments, what we like to look at, what we want to see, something we want demonstrated. As always, I will come up with something as interesting as possible, hopefully keep you engaged, keep you informed. But I do like it when you guys are creating the content. So another interesting day from the market today. A lot of things gapping up, giving it back up through the day. SPY had a sell-off and a whoosh before picking itself back up off the ground. Heading back at some more new all-time highs that were just done today. I imagine most of the other indexes look very similar. Some things that I've been looking at, ASTR, big gap up and then a fade into the day for that. TMST, that was more of a gap and go on the day here. Widen that 5-minute chart out a little bit. There we go. Retail's been hot. Designer brands. On the tailwinds of that, looks like BCRX had some news today that I saw. Something about some royalty costs. So again, open forum here for you all. Please ask the questions. Hopefully I will have the answers to them. Dive around a few more items in here. Sorry, looking at a few questions that are coming in here. We're a small, quiet bunch so far. So, all right, yeah, so I said BCRX had some news today. It's a stock that I've traded a lot since around this time last year, actually. Maybe losing its strength, possibly some interest in it here. Really starting to kind of find some pressure right there on that. Let's see, can it hold? Is it going to give it up? I don't know. Continue to take a dive around at what's going on here. SBH, got your Sally Beauty. Long Vanity, long Insanity. This is looking pretty strong here to me. It's held up, coming up through this channel now. Maybe some resistance there, something to keep an eye on. Not too bad liquidity. 945K on the shares traded, 1.76 on that relative volume ratio that's there. Some other stuff that I've been looking at, NEGG. Kind of like the pattern that's happening here. Hindsight trading. I was going to take it here, and then I was really glad I didn't, and now I'm not sure what to think. But I like this in here, how looks like we may have bottomed out, had a nice move up. Might even call these a couple of bull flags here. So some good stuff that's coming through there, some ideas generated. Most of this has come through my evening scan over the last few weeks that I share out all the time. Anybody new is popping in here, a new subscriber, you'd like that, you can always pull up the what I call my evening scan. There's a chart that I tweeted out yesterday. And just a little wider here on that daily chart. narrow down that 15-minute a little bit. Why do I like this? I like cup and handle patterns. Cup and a handle. All right. Now, do we have a mini cup and a mini handle forming? Time will tell. This one, I always note that it kind of trades with the SPY a little bit here. So, that initial move up in the SPY had happened, although that initial move was longer in the SPY. This one plopped right down with it and then kind of had a similar pattern to it, though. So, but it's another way to play EVs if you are watching EV plays. It's your lithiums. Let's see what its sister stock is doing, or brother stock, whatever you want to call it. LAC. Very similar patterns. This chart always seems to be a little cleaner to me, and for some reason I always have more trouble trading this chart. Kind of funny how that works, but same kind of concept. What I'm looking at there. Marching on to all-time highs again. This one a little different. Didn't really have the same pop that LTHN did, but did have that fade. Looks like it's fading again here into the close. So we'll see how that all plays out. One never knows. And again, so I keep this a live Q&A, open forum, kind of just hitting some charts, some things that I've been looking at recently, filling some dead air time while I wait for you all to come with your questions for me. Of course, if we don't have questions, continue to dive around a few more charts. We'll talk about the AI, mixed bag with the AI today. Again, another day that continues to prove my point of man and machine, and not just machine alone, not just man alone, but letting the two work together. So I guess we could dive into there. We're about 6+ minutes into this here on this Q&A, and you're all kind of silent. I see people filtering in, filtering out. So again, one last shot at this here. It's a live Q&A. It's an open forum Q&A. I prefer it when you are all asking questions, want to see something demonstrated, build something together, capabilities of things that we can do, how that might be done. That's what I like. I like when you drive it with those questions. However, we'll dive into the AI for now while I wait questions, and I'll circle back on that again. So for those that don't know, we have an AI we call Holly. She alerts long and short. She looks at the entire market. She has 55 or so base strategies. Each day she comes with a different set of strategies based on some optimizations and back tests from the evening before. Will be for this weekend before. So she does thousands and thousands of simulations. We'll make minor tweaks to those strategies, filters. Generally, she does not add a filter, but that's a generally. But she will tweak how those filters are working. She'll tweak her entry and exits. So today we can see we came with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 long, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 short. So very mixed bag from her today coming in. No clear edge on which way she was going to go with all that. We can see the win percentages on these from the back testing and optimization. We can also see the profit factors on the back testing and optimizations here, okay? So we could see some testing real high and some not testing so high, all right? Keep that data honest and integrity-wise. That's the strategy window. Now here's the strategy trades window. These are the trades that alerted today. And what I mean by a mixed bag today is you have some trades that were really in the money today and then handed it right back. So a prime example of this is PBW, okay? Absolutely fantastic call from her here. All right, I've got it marked with an arrow. I tweeted this chart out earlier. And we can see she makes that entry. She gets right there on that candle, and we just get a beautiful, almost hour down. All right, and there's our bottom. And then that reverses right back up. Okay. One could say it mimicked the SPY, and it very well may have, but it certainly turned out to be some really great alpha in on that trade rate here. Okay. But ask yourself, as a trader, would you let your profits come all the way down here to this target, have that hit, and then let it reverse on you, even if we just reversed from here without this extra alpha that happened? Realistically, as a trader, if you're doing that on a regular basis, you're going to have to re-examine what you're doing as a trader. So just an absolutely outstanding call from Holly. She was in that money. Let's see, 91.04 was the entry. All right. And she came all the way down to 88.60, let's call it. All right. $2.50 essentially on that entry. You're going to let that reverse off that entry. And even if you didn't get it till, let's say, here, and you only got $1 worth of this whole move, or even here and got $1 worth or $1.50 worth of a $2.50 move. All right. Excellent signal from the AI there. All right. We go good, we go bad. Sorry, getting a message from Barry. We go good, we go bad. So here's one where it just never got going, never really worked out. ASTR. All right. We got the signal here. We looked like pull back long. All right. So she was pulling back here. We looked like we were getting set to go back up again. We got the wick. Unfortunately, that was going to do it for her on the day, or do it for Aster on the day, and kind of just bled for the rest of the day. Now, again, man and machine. The signal wasn't too early in the day. However, we get this big gap up. All right. That's where it gapped up to. We're now down here. That's where down here means. All right. And we've got a range that's now been established, okay, on the day. And she's jumping here before we're taking out the top of that range. So, was it spring moving up? Was it getting ready to set up and push through? It's very possible. It's likely. But for me, we were still pretty extended off this 15-minute 8 EMA right there. Just my kind of 2 cents on it and my trader's eye. All right. So again, the man and the machine. And I feel like, that's not quite where I want to be entering that stock. And we could see as we had price action meet that EMA, it got right above it and suppressed it for the rest of the day. So I see a question coming in. Who's that? Dan. What do we got for me, Dan? Let me take a look here. Chris got a data question and scan a build. Which do you want first? Hit me with the data one. That's the harder question usually. As if I don't have the answer, I got to go bother people that do. And at the moment, they are not present on their way, actually. So there's a Mr. Robert in here that I'm awaiting an answer for. But the person that has to answer that question is not currently present for me to get the answer from. That's why I didn't get an answer yet for Robert on that block sale data. You can throw them both out there and I'll answer them in whichever order. Doesn't, I'm not picky on how that goes as far as those questions are. And sorry, just catching back up on a few things here. All right, so if you make a blank top list, take a look at a few more charts from Holly as we wait that to come in here. MU, haven't seen you pop up on a scanner in a while. And again, not right at the bottom, but just a bleed afterwards. Couldn't take out that high of the day. And, the market was already starting to begin to fade as this alert was made right there. So PF means profit factor, Ignacio. That is your profit factor. It's essentially a ratio of winners to losers on the profit. Short growth maximum minus 50, short column short growth, and float and sort by short growth with smallest data on top. So, all right, let's get a blank top list here. New top list window. Let's get rid of the stuff that's already in here. Hide unused. You want short growth and float. So we'll go short. If I could type right, SHORT. My goodness. All right, so short maximum minus 50 on short growth. Add filter, maximum minus 50. And show column, short growth, and float, and sort by the growth with smallest at the top. Okay. So let's come back here. Let's show column. Let's come back here. Let's show column. All right, let's look at our columns. Get rid of volume percent today. I'm never a fan of that column. To be honest, I don't use it. It's a great filter. I just don't use it. Do we need... I guess we'll leave the rest of these for now. We're going to sort by short growth. So let's get short growth as the server side sort. All right, we'll press OK. So this is what we're doing here. All right, and populate it over here. Now let's use a visual sort by short growth here on this here. And then let's also do a colorized short growth sort. Keep it all nice and neat. So short growth, because that seems to be the focus of this. Okay, and so how do you want to do this? You want it like this, where we have the biggest on top or the smallest on top, you said? Short growth, smallest on top. All right, now this is going to be looking at just like this. And because we're sorting from short growth, it's bringing all that in. So we can, up this count. For this exercise, we can up it to 2,000. Most of you know how I feel about putting 1,000 count on top list. All right. Did I do something wrong? I thought I put short growth maximum minus 50. Configure window specific filter was at least. Oh, I see, because it's a negative. Got kind of a double negative going on there. That's what we want. So short growth maximum of minus 50. So the short growth, the way that filter is not going to work with a negative number like a normal filter would actually, Dan, because it's a double negative essentially. It's not, and it is at the same time. Let's see, what do we got going on? Give me an example. Give me an example of a stock that's on there that's that has no short data, and we'll see how it's populating on there. Hopefully, I'll have an answer for you. Looks like, what is the market doing into the close here? Selling off hard again. So is that on here though? Let's configure and let's point it right at that. Oops, symbols list. So for those that don't know, you can point to scan at a single symbol. So we come into the configure, symbols list, single symbol. I'm going to point it right at NGCAU. And it is. And what do we got? Short growth. It's got a short growth right here. So even though we don't know the float, we know the growth, the short growth. It's whatever's coming in from our consolidated data feed. From, I guess that's got to be FactSet. I'm trying to think, does this qualify as fundamental or technical data? Volume is technical. Cash would be fundamental, but what would short growth be? 'Cause technically, it's not a hard number because if you check 10 different sources, you're going to get 10 different numbers on this right now. Either way, I guess neither here nor there, but we're reporting a short growth, so that's why it's going to end up there. Sorry, what I was saying, I didn't realize I hit my mute button. Why we don't have these here is because FactSet and NextCore, who we get the consolidated data feeds from, they're not getting that from the exchanges slash the brokers that power their data, where their data comes powered in from. They just have this to send out to us at the moment. Yeah, it's funny. Standard deviation, I don't do a lot with it. I started to get a little more into it, using it as a filter and not an alert. On some of my optimizations on scans that I've been playing with, it's really kind of honed in on the optimization process of it. But all the technical and the math behind it is a little over my head. So, but anybody else? I see people piling in, piling out, and why I say piling in, piling out, two, three people in, two, three people out. If anybody has questions, please fire them away for me here. Whether it's software based or demonstration based of the software, the AI, trading off the charts, anything like that. That's what I'm here for. Live Q&A. So I'll get rid of this. I think we're good there. We kind of answered that. It's interesting. Not what I was kind of expecting from the close today. And what I mean by that is just looking at the SPY here. Gap up, taking out all-time highs. Really made quite a strong move. And then, I don't know, the Fed hit the wrong button on the printer today. I'm not sure what happened. And, looked like it was kind of the normal shake out the weak, scared hands. And we'll march right back up towards an all-time closing high. And we're really giving it up here at the end. And when I say really giving it up, I mean, on a relative basis of things. We're sideways for quite a while now. That's all. Get rid of that nonsense. I mean, zoom out on that 15-minute chart of the SPY. We had this move, that gap up, and then we went for like 19 days in a row or something like that, right up into here. And whoops, that's a terrible line. And we're kind of range bound into here now, with the whoopsie right down there on those days. And we'll see. So we whoopsied up, back into this range that we've been in now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So we'll see what it all plays out to. And zoom that back out. Get rid of that chart. Any other alert you'd recommend for something like that? For the short growth kind of float thing, well, let's take a look here. Let's right click and come into a configure of any alert, because we can search them all there. Brainstorm together on this. We'll come to search. Let's widen this out so we can get a nice wide view of things. So you're looking at things with high short growth, or you're looking at things with technically negative short growth, right? You want to see stuff where the shorts are leaving. They're getting scared. Am I correct, Dan? Right. So shorts are moving out. Um, so shorts are moving out and we're moving up with it then. Might want to consider this crossed above resistance here. And then you can set hours of trading in it, how far you want it to look back for that resistance. Wonder if this linear regression might be something interesting for this here. I've never looked at this before. Let's take a look. Linear regression. Trading system. System reports high probability trades based on stocks typically move in a linear regression channel. All right, so we're putting some math to the math essentially. It'll tell us the stock is likely to move. Using shorter term linear regression shows us stock's momentum. So maybe you want a longer term linear regression, maybe a 90-minute. Might try that and see what that works out. Try 30 and 90 minutes. I feel like that might be something to look at because I feel like if you're trying to play something where, unless you're trying to play a rapid short squeeze, then you want something more of a short term alert. You know, that 2-minute thrust, upwards thrust might be something. But I have a feeling you're trying to look for people just moving out of the shorts on a slower moving stock. Essentially, you're not. I don't think you're looking for that fast squeeze. I think you're looking for something where the shorts moving out is price action moving up on a longer term basis. And when I say longer term, 2, 3, 4 days, right? I think I'm in your head on this one. Yes, so it's a longer term play, right? Um, Maybe also one of these kind of hammer ones where you're looking at stuff where that the shorts are moving out, something that's moving in a counter direction and then pops back up. That might be something to consider here on these hammers. Not sure about the narrow range. Maybe the narrow range. Kind of feel more about that linear regression, and that's just throwing it out there. I don't know what it will actually look like. We can mess around and build something here. Nobody else is chiming in with questions, so we can kind of dive down a rabbit hole together. So let's do that. Let's go new. Let's go alert window. All right, let's search. Let's find that linear regression. Let's get a 90-year regression trend up. Let's add that alert. Let's get rid of the new high, hide unused. Let's get rid of some of this stuff that's in here for now. All right, let's search. Let's find our shorts. Short growth. Let's add that filter. Now, how do we want to use this filter? Because we want to find things where the short is falling. So we put a 50 in the max. So show me stocks where there are fewer short shares than last month, the same as last month. There are no more than 50%. So, all right, that's how we're looking there. So if you're looking for the shorts to be moving up in that sense, as in moving out, I'd go with a 50 in the max. At 50 is the number you want to base off. We'll start there. Let's see what happens. All right, so we've got that. All right. Let's look at stocks that are $8 and higher. I feel like that's probably a better idea. Honestly, I want to see 10, but we'll go with 8. All right, what else do we want to add to this? The shorts are moving out. And at $8, we're using linear regression. If you've got ideas, throw them out there. And if anybody else has ideas, throw them out there. We can make it a group exercise. This isn't just me and Dan doing this. I mean, it is just me and him because nobody else is chiming in anything. But All right, let's get rid of that. Let's start to search again. We're looking for shorts moving out. Maybe we want daily RSI. Again, if I can type, that would always be helpful. RSI, let's get a daily RSI. Let's add daily RSI. Something to filter out SPACs and other instruments. Okay. Let's do this. Daily RSI. Let's see that, we're moving up in daily RSI. Let's make sure, let's go with 45. I'm just kind of throwing at the wall. You want to get rid of those. So let's come to symbols lists. All SPACs testing. Let's get rid of SPAC. Let's see, Chris McKay, one of the other guys that I work with here, Chris McKay, he's working on some technology to eliminate ETFs, warrants, and SPACs. We're testing it. There's still stuff sneaking through, but let's see what this does on this, if that helps us. Yes, exactly what Dan said. We're looking at shorts that are moving out, but not a big spike necessarily for short squeeze. Just things that look good. And wow, yeah, that was quite the sell off there. Interesting. Kind of affected what I'm holding. Oh well. All right, so we're a linear regression on the uptrend. We got that and this here. All right, so we've got some kind of specific things that we're working with. Let's just let's look at what this looks like and see if there's a ridiculous amount of alerts coming in first. Let's bring that window over and let's go with history. Let's go with time frame. Let's look at what was last. Let's go with the 18th. Now, you know what? Let's go with the 16th because I want to see what it looks like after the alert, a few days after the alert. So 16th. Let's make this a 9:45 in the morning. I just want to get an idea of what we're looking at first. So, all right, a good amount of alerts to work with. Let's shrink Holly back down to size. Barry, I don't know if Barry's in here listening. He's humble bragging right now. His LGVN, is that what he did? Yeah, LGVN. I guess he nailed it on the end of the day here. Sorry, I'm getting rid of the symbol linking here because it's something that's it's messing with other charts on another screen of mine, my SPY chart. All right. Yeah, is it something bigger? I said Friday. Maybe we crash on Monday. Maybe this is the beginning of the crash. I don't know. Are we just shaking out weak hands? I don't know. Hope it's not a crash. If it's a crash, I just like them to let me get out of my positions. Anyways, all kidding aside, let's get back and look at this here. And take a look at some of these alerts that are coming through. Link to the wrong chart. Red. So, all right, ACC. So we're getting like all SPACs with this. That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, the way we could really do this, I suppose, then, is use the EPS hack, Dan. The only issue you run with the EPS hack is that, there are some stocks that will get dropped off of it. And what do I mean by EPS hack? SPACs don't have an EPS. I guess we could use an earnings date hack too. Let's see. Let's go with earnings date and add filter. And let's do something really ridiculous. Earnings were reported sometime. Does that do what I wanted it to? I'm trying to put a ridiculous number in here. Let's see what happens with this here. I'm trying to come up with a way to get rid of those SPACs, but I feel like that's going to kill the scan. History, all. Because that scan was all it was finding was SPACs, as a matter of fact. Okay, so we're going to have to rethink this with that short growth. So it looks like the thing that looks like SPACs have a massive amount of short movement out of them. So let's go with this here. Now, that brings me to the next question. What does that mean? Does that mean that SPACs are going to make another boom? Or, I mean, it's possible. That's interesting data to have, to note that there are, that looked like hundreds of SPACs where the short growth was massive, the negative short growth was massive on them. So that might be something else to look at. That's a good question. We could always dive into what the brokers have available for shorts, but that just seems a little too coincidental to have that many SPACs with that much short movement out of them. But let's do this. Let's make that a 30 instead of a 50. Let's go to history. Oops. Let's go to all. This isn't going at all like I wanted. Let's go with the traditional EPS hack. So again, what do I mean by EPS hack? We use an EPS filter. We'll add that filter and go with minus 0.1 here, minus 0.01 here, minus 0.01 there. All right. And that's a way to get rid of anything that doesn't report. So ETFs will be out, SPACs will be out. All right. Now let's go to history. Let's go to time frame. Not a lot coming in. And it still gives us a SPAC. How does this reporting on earnings? Doesn't have an earnings date. Woof. You got me on a stumped one here there, Dan. Wow, you really got me on this one. I can't find anything but a SPAC to come through this. Go with all. All right, Frey is not a SPAC. So I'm throwing a few things at the wall now. No, apparently I can't escape them. See if I can find another workaround, because literally 99 out of 100 of these are SPACs. And some of them even have float data, so I can't even use float as a way around that. Nowhere is perfect circle. Apparently, it's out of my wheelhouse right now too. I feel like I'm just having a brain fart on how to do this, though. Well, I mean, you're gonna have every bear and their mother coming out right now because of what just happened to the spy today, of course. But I mean, how could you possibly be short this market? Individual stocks, sure, of course. But I mean, the market overall, I mean, or I'm paying mines that are greater than mine also for some assistance here. I want them to look at this and explain to me why I'm being stupid right now. Okay, I'm a little bit at a loss on this one here. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like being defeated. All right, collaborating some stuff with Andy and the gang. So, all right, I'm curious as to why I'm not getting stocks on this. Only the following list. Wow, Dan. Exclude the following list. Aye, aye, aye. Boy, I'm kicking myself right now. That wasn't embarrassing at all. Okay, let's go back and look at this in a time frame. And those are definitely not SPACs. All right, so I just had to tell them stop. I sent you on a wild goose chase. Okay, back to it. So, all right, let's take a look at some of these alerts. We went back to the 16th here. And let's look at some of the stuff that came through on that day. A lot of alerts. So we're probably going to want to narrow this back down again. But let's take a look at some of these things here. So, nope, still kind of fading. Goldfields. Wow, a lot of it's just fading over the days. So, not finding what I know what you're looking for in this, but we're not finding it so far. Marvell. Oh, this is one that kills me. It's also going to be hard. You can't look at today's data because Well, today was kind of extra special in what happened, but I went back to the 16th to give us a few sideways days. All right, you mentioned what did we say before? You said something about something 5 day, 5 day volume. All right, let's throw that in there. We got linear regression. Let's go with 5 day average volume. Let's add that. Let's give it a 500K minimum. And everything seems to be moving in a negative direction. So let's also go with a 10 day. Let's go with position in 10 day range here. Yeah, let's see what that gave us. And again, looking at today is not going to be a great data set. Still a lot of alerts coming through. Okay, that moved nicely off that. That one, not so much. Trying to see ones that have 2 or 3 days follow through. Yeah, Baba's not really fair. I believe Baba at this point, with everything that's going on, will have some support around 0 at this point. Hmm. Stay away from these Chinese stocks. Geez. So I had to follow through for a few hours the next day. What did Marvell look good for a few days afterwards? Geez, wow, Marvell's almost $1 billion float. Too many Chinese stocks coming through here. And not that I have an issue with Chinese stocks, but the indexes are just so beyond decimated with China. All right, well, we're not really finding what we're looking for out of this so far. Kind of unfortunate. I like the idea behind it. 60-30, and we're sitting right there at that same price right now. Made a nice move up actually off that alert, to be honest. Again, China. Is this News Corp, right? I wonder. Yeah, like I said, I don't have any problem trading Chinese stocks. It's just the index is overall just so beaten. I mean, like, take a look really fast here. I had some thoughts on messing with the scan a little bit. K-Web. I mean, yeah, just another awful day for the K-Web. I mean, just wow. And FXI, it's your large cap, and I can't imagine. Yeah, same thing. I mean, they mimic each other. Just awful. It was not their year. 2021 was not the year for Chinese stocks overall. But anyway, so I had a thought on here. We were using RSI, and I'm wondering if this linear regression is actually our problem now, because you have stocks that moved up and it's pulling back to that linear regression. And so, search. Let's come back to alerts. You said you messed around with standard deviation. Let's see. Let's mess around with it some more. Oops. Did not select it. Select. Add. Select. Hide unused. Let's see if that gives us some. Oh, what do you know? Well, Barry took an 18 break on this, he said, and I think he said he's retiring now, is what he told me. Again, Barry's retired more times than I can count. Uh, okay, what was I trying to do? History again. And again, I see, we're up to a whole 12 or 13 people in here. It's a live Q&A, so folks coming in and out, if you have questions, you want something demonstrated, I'm running with what me and Dan are building here because nobody else is asking anything. And, perhaps you just find this interesting and you want to be a part of it. That's fine. But if you also have thoughts and ideas about it, please throw them in there. All right. Don't be shy. It's a live Q&A for everybody. This isn't just for me to talk, and it's not just for any one person. Dan, I'm grateful that Dan does this every day with me, because otherwise it would be me talking into the void. At least it's me talking with Dan at this point. The same with Perfect Circle. When Perfect Circle, uh, I know you say Barry gives you a hard time about all the scans, and I think it's more of a tease than anything else. But this is what I'm here for. I'm happy to build scans, and this scan now is looking a lot better with the standard deviation alert off those first two, anyways. Excuse me. I got some sideways movement here. All right. Well, we started off well. Oh, really nice move off for Domino's Pizza. This one gave it up. Yeah, you know what? So do I. Perfect Circle. I kind of have what I do based on my trading and what I like to see from charts and things like that. But there's so much out there, and people get hung up. And that's why I've learned a few things while I'm doing this. To be honest, this live Q&A for the last few months, I'm learning quite a few things actually. So it's challenging the norms. Questions coming in here for me in the chat. All right, well, some of these moved up okay, some not so much. I'm wondering. If we up this RSI filter. And let's bring it back again to the 16th. And again, if anybody's asking, well, why does he keep going to the 16th? We didn't have, I'm going to bring over a chart, and we're going to go back to the 16th on a SPY chart for the overall market. So, here's the 16th, and we've been kind of, up and then back down and then up and then back down. So, I'm trying to get this data set here to see what it looks like, see if we can find things moving not lockstep with the market exactly. On a day like this, it's, that's a whole different story. As I say, a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, an anchor brings them down. So, the 16th right up into today gives us a decent data set to look at for what the scan was doing without having too much influence from the actual market itself. or trying to avoid too much influence from the market itself. So, all right, some okay things in here, some not so okay things in here. I don't know that upping that RSI filter really did much to help us. In fact, I don't think that helped at all, as a matter of fact. And let's drop it all together. So we got that short growth filter. For some reason, I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this. The fewer short shares. Does that mean more people taking short shares? Yeah, I'm having trouble wrapping my head around the wording of this. This thing was defying gravity here at the end here of the day. Might be interesting to watch for tomorrow. I'm kind of just throwing some stuff at the wall at this point because now you've got me really curious here. I'm always like everybody else wanting to build the master scan. I'd love to build one for a 2-3 day hold. And that, the 16th, 17th, and 18th is a really nice data set to look at for something scan building wise here. Sherwin Williams. Okay, so we have it right originally over on this side. Just the wording kind of trips me up here. What would be some things we want to see here? 33% above that. I don't think we need the EPS hack anymore. I think we solved our SPAC problem. Just in case. Maybe if we put a short float on here too. Throw 10% on there. That one's easy to do. The indicators I use here on the daily chart, I use a few. There's a 50 here. I debate whether to get rid of it. I've been saying that for months. For now, it stays. It's a 50 SMA. This blue is a 20 SMA. This red is an 8 EMA. And this black line that goes all squiggly is a position in low 20 days. So to go over those, what they look like in the indicators here, the chart. So indicators. This here, multi-period low is what it's called. So multi-period low, and I put a 20 in here because I like position and range 20. I like to use that as support for a lot of things. Yeah, I think so. I can send this here. I think it'll send you the whole doc. Save and share, and just make sure to save it afterwards. See if that helps you. I just happen to like 20-day range for a lot of things that I do in my personal trading. All right, one last look here on this for the 16th using standard deviation. Apparently, that's the only alert from that day. That's interesting. Very interesting. Hmm. So apparently, a lot of those stocks that we were looking at didn't have much of a short float to start with, or not reporting much of a short float, I should say. Unless there's something else that's tripping us up, but I don't think that should be messing with us. Maybe the position in 10-day. That doesn't seem likely. I didn't mess with the symbols list again, did I? Nope. I find this kind of hard to believe. Wow. It was only showing Dick's today and for the 16th. That's odd because of the short float. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, do you want me to share this out for you guys? I mean, I don't think there's it's a template of something. Maybe there's some promise, but it's not, there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done on this for it to become anything. I'll share it out all the same. Before I share it out, let's call it something. So we'll call it standard deviation negative short growth. And we'll save it and we'll share it. And that's gonna wrap it up. I'll give my end of the day spiel here for everybody. I do this every day at 3:30 Eastern, Monday through Friday. This stream itself opens at 9 a.m. Eastern every day. Barry opens it up. He runs the traders room. He runs it from 9 to noon Eastern on the YouTube side. He then gives up that stream at noon Eastern for 1 hour. One of the other gentlemen that I work with, Trader Educator, comes in, gives you a live Q&A similar to what we are doing here. Yep, fire away, Dan. And then at 3 o'clock, Barry shuts down both his stream for the Traders Room and the YouTube stream. The stream rests for half an hour, and I open the YouTube side back up at 3:30 Eastern every day. So if you just can't get enough of us, another hour closing out the market with me, the last half hour of the market and going half an hour past the close. So it's every day, Monday through Friday. I try to get you guys as much live content as we can. I think live content is always better. Don't be shy. Ask your questions. That's what I'm here for. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. You sit there in silence. You'll sit there and wonder forever. So, I did this live stream of my own accord. I was not asked to do this. This was not something that was mandated to me by Trade Ideas. I just thought that maybe a little more live education would really help some people out. The breaking resistance. It's looking back at price action of recent, what would be recent support or resistance. So how does it do that? I forget. I was looking at the Looking at the definition, let me look really quick here. Search. Um, where are you? Hmm. Did I pass it? No. Are you talking about the crossed above resistance here? That what we're talking about, Dan? And fire your question away, George, and I'll see if I can answer it. Uh, yeah, Robert. Sorry, I covered that earlier. I thought you might have been here when I talked about that earlier. I'm waiting for Brad, who's not around for that right now. I need the. That's what I'm waiting for. So he's out for the time being. When he's back, I'll get my answer as far as that the block trade goes. So yeah, all right. Crossed above below resistance. So on that. So it's essentially looking at prices where the stock stayed around that price a lot. So if we were looking here, why did that do that to me? Channel breakdown. All right, cross above resistance. So places where the stock price spends a lot of time. How the algo determines that, I'm not exactly sure. All right. But that's essentially what it's looking at. It's looking at where the price is spending a lot of time. And then you can have it look at a specific amount of time instead. And that's what the adding the hours to it is. Um, yeah, George. So what I was saying is that this stream that I'm on right now, this channel, the Trade Ideas Education channel, that Barry, a gentleman named Barry, runs it from 9 a.m. Eastern every day until 3 p.m. Eastern every day, and then it closes for half an hour, and I open it back up at 3:30 Eastern every day for an hour, give or take, and that's how that runs. At noon Eastern every day, Barry also gives up the stream. The YouTube he broadcasts from two sides. So there's the actual traders room. It's a little more of an inclusive room with more traders in there than the YouTube stream, but the YouTube stream is easier for some people to get into with a single click. So at noon Eastern on the YouTube stream, Barry gives up that for an hour, and someone similar to myself takes that over for an hour and does a live Q&A that's similar to that. Oh, you mean are we going to see continuation on LGVN? I have no idea. I don't predict things like that. It's well beyond what I would consider anything right now as a chase. LGVN. I mean, that's just that's insane. That move was at 10 earlier today. It's at 32 now. I mean, how do you consider if there's no way to know if that'll continue? It's an all time high. It very well could. It very well could continue, but there's just no way. A clean way to track the major indices in a top list. You could do it, use an ETF list essentially here. Here's what, you decide what you consider the major indices, I guess, SPY, Q, so on and so forth. And then you have three ways to display the data. You have the server sort, what it's going to actually sort on. All right. That's your sort here. Okay. You pick that. And if you don't see what you like, that's right there right away. You can find it here. Then you have the display sort. So you can show the column again. All right. Click columns. So in here you have your columns. And again, if you don't see the column that you want to be sorting on for the display, you come back here, add the column, and then, bring those in. And then the column will be populated here and you can double click it. So right now I'm displaying by change from close. And I can do it, biggest change from close negative or biggest change from close positive. And then you have the color sort too, if you want to keep it even, and gradient. Right click, properties, select color. And you can see in here, I've got change from close percent as the gradient color that it's going to work off of. And then you can see the color scheme that's there. So that would be, if you want more volume than normal, and you just want to look at that, you could go with, let's say, I'm going to duplicate this because I don't want to mess with my list. But if we go to duplicate, all right, I want to see more volume than normal, and I can right click, configure, and let's say, let's go with 5-minute volume. All right, so volume, 5 minutes. We're going to show that column. All right, there's the column. Click OK. Click OK. All right, there's that 5-minute volume. Now I'm sorting by that. Okay, and then I can right click and come to properties, select color, 5-minute, volume, percent. Now we have our gradient against that. And here we go. And we can see what the 5-minute volume is versus normal 10-day average over 5 minutes. And you can go that way or you can go this way with it and just pick what you want, the symbol list that you want to run for those. Why would I use 5-minute and not relative? I just picked it as an example. Also, the 5-minute volume will work pre and post market. The relative volume will not work pre and post market. So that's kind of that. But I think, what you're looking for is a clean way to look at it. What will muddy things up is, having 40 symbols on here instead of 5 symbols, for example. Is there a programmatic interface? Would kill for that in libraries. Well, as far as libraries go, you program it, you program it. I don't know what you're looking for specifically, but, and as far as libraries go, this is an entire library of scans here. You could always go through, Richard, our YouTube feed, look at old videos and stuff. And, if the scan still exists, especially the old 5 o'clock Eastern webinars, we're doing those every other week now. Every other week it's Monday, Monday, Wednesday. Every other week it's Tuesday, Wednesday. Something you can code against? No. You got to work with what we have within the system. It's, we bring in raw consolidated data feeds and then create these. And then have to push them out server side. You can do some custom filtering, but we have to have the data within the system. You can't just write something out of thin air. I'll drop this in and then I do have to run. Let me find what I'm looking for. If anybody that wants to dive down custom formulas more, all right, this video, it's really short, but essentially it goes over the very basics of creating customs. You don't really need any programming skills or anything like that. Or having some math skills will help, if you're trying to get things complicated. But this video will go over that. So, all right, I do have to run, everybody. I will be back here tomorrow. So if you guys have questions, please show up back here 3:30 Eastern. The earlier in, the more ground we can cover for sure. So thank everybody. And I will catch you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Bye-bye now.